Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. Last week we talked about atmospheric pressure, about how the seasons are changing and things may not be going the way we want them to go around us, but we can change the atmosphere nonetheless. We can change things to uplift our moods, and therefore once our moods are uplifted, we have more clarity to still go forward and accomplish our goals. And this week I'm going to expound on that point. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, Atmospheric Pressure, stop what you're doing right now, go back, listen to that, and then come back here. This week, I'm going to expound on that and talk about why that is so important. We're going to go a little bit deeper. And this is why I say this podcast is just as much for me as it is for all of you out there. So whenever I'm recording these podcast episodes, whatever message that I'm giving you on these podcast episodes, I'm digesting it myself because I'm living proof and I'm still a work in progress. Yesterday, I had a horrible day. Yesterday was a bad day for me. I didn't show it on the outside, but on the inside, it was a very horrible day for me. I had a lot of intrusive thoughts and I was bogged down, so much so that I could barely work out at the gym. I went to the gym and I couldn't even really work out at the gym because physically I didn't have any strength. Physically, I didn't have any motivation, even though I was surrounded by all of these weights, all of these machines. I didn't have it in me. And it took a while over the course of yesterday for me to regain that passion, to regain that enthusiasm. It took a while. Eventually, I got it back. But how did I get it back? I changed that atmosphere around me, right? So I started to do chores around the house. I was listening to music. I was listening to a couple podcasts to get my mind back right, to get my spirit uplifted. I was watching some television shows, some comfort shows that made me feel good. And eventually, by the time I went to sleep, I was in a better mood. I was in a better mood by the time I went to sleep than I was when I woke up earlier that day because I shifted the atmosphere. I did things that made me feel good and I did things that gave me a little bit more confidence to go forward and be better on the next day. So here I am on the next day, right? That was yesterday. Here I am yesterday. I woke up in a better mood. Today, I went to the gym. I had more energy. I was stronger. I had a better workout. I had a good workout at the gym. I networked today, not intentionally networked, but I was speaking to people as I walked past them. I actually held conversations with strangers, and these strangers held conversations back with me. And as a result of these conversations we poured into each other, and we left a little bit more inspired than what we were before we encountered each other. I had a great business call. I'm getting one step closer to my goals. Even though my atmosphere around me is still the same as it was yesterday, physically, literally, the mass is still the same. I'm still not accomplishing my goals. My bank account is still the same, right? And nothing has changed from yesterday, but everything has changed within me, and therefore my mental atmosphere, that atmospheric pressure, has been alleviated. That's what we talked about last week. But this week, the reason why that is so important, the reason why I'm here today is because of the work I did yesterday. The work I did yesterday to climb out of that hole that was dug for me. And now here I am today with more strength in the physical sense at the gym, with more strength, with the confidence and the courage strength, talking to strangers, with more strength in taking leaps of faith to get closer to my goals. You have to understand, joy power is very important. I'm not talking about your power. I'm talking about joy power, because today I'm in a better mood, not because it's Mogul Motivation Wednesday. Today I'm in a better mood because I shifted the atmosphere and I'm actually happy with myself. I'm actually happy with my circumstances. I'm actually happy with my trajectory. Don't you understand that when you are sad, when you are depressed, when you are anxious, when you are worried, you are literally weak? in that moment in time. I'm not saying these are bad things, because you are human. These are human emotions. We are going to experience it. But what I'm telling you is, when you are feeling these emotions, when these emotions consume you, you are physically, literally, mentally, and emotionally weak. You cannot do anything in those state of minds. So the only thing you can do is bit by bit start to shift that atmosphere around you. And once that atmosphere is completely shifted, now you have joy power, because you're happy, because you're joyful, because you're enthusiastic, because you have that passion. Passion really means suffering, but nonetheless, you are willing to go through that suffering to get to what you want at this present moment, because you shifted that atmosphere. You have joy power, because when you are happy, when you are joyful, when you are feeling all of these positive human emotions, you are literally strong. You are physically strong. You are emotionally strong. You are mentally strong. You are spiritually strong. And when you are strong, there is nothing that you cannot lift. And even the things that you cannot lift, the things that you cannot change, systems, institutions, people telling you, no, you cannot change that. God can change that, because you are literally doing everything that you can to get closer to your goal. And once you do thy duty that is best, the Lord will do the rest. Joy power is what I'm talking about this week, ladies and gentlemen. But you can only get to joy power unless you change that atmosphere and alleviate that pressure. That's why I said, listen to last week's episode first and foremost. You can't have one without the other. You cannot shift the atmosphere and have joy power. You cannot have joy in the midst of chaos. The only way you can have joy in the midst of chaos is if you change the atmosphere around you. So even though it's still chaos around you, even though it's still wars going on in this world, even though people are still dying, people are still homeless, people are still hungry, it's still a lot of destruction and chaos and pain in this world. You cannot physically change that right now, but you can change that atmosphere within you. So therefore you can go out into the world with that joy and use that power and start to make a physical and literal change around you. That is how it works. You cannot have one without the other. Joy power is what I have today, and joy power is what I want you to have as well, as you continue to build your business, as you continue to go forward after your goals in your career, whatever it may be, personal goals. You have to have that joy. You have to have that happiness. You have to have that enthusiasm. You have to be willing to go through that suffering, that passion. You have to have all of these things so you can physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually be strong for the journey ahead. But you cannot be strong if you are weak. If you are weak, if you are sad, if you are depressed, if you are anxious, you cannot be strong in those present moments. You have to shift your atmosphere first and foremost. And once you shift your atmosphere, all of those negative and sad emotions will dissipate. And that joy is going to build up in you. I'm trying to tell you, today is a much better day than it was yesterday. Much better day. And the day ain't not even over. It's not even over, but I know the rest of this day is still going to be a great day. There is no email. There is nothing that can shift my mood today. And that is why it's so important to have gratitude every single day. Gratitude for the wins that you racked up. Gratitude for the things you have accomplished. You have to have those gentle reminders. That's another past Mogul Motivation episode. Go listen to that. You have to have these gentle reminders to remember how far you have come. Don't focus on how much further you got to go. Just look at how far you have come. Because once you look at how far you have come, you know what you're doing is working. Yes, you can change some things, but you know ultimately what you're doing is working. You know ultimately what you're going after is not in vain and is obtainable. So that's my message today, everybody. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. Shift the atmosphere within you. When you look good, you feel good. Listen to some gospel. Listen to some R&B. Listen to some diss tracks. Whatever it is that's going to get you pumped up. Change that atmosphere. Handle some chores. Handle some minor tasks. Get that confidence back. And once that atmospheric pressure is alleviated, now you're going to have joy power. Now you're going to be strong in the physical sense, in the emotional sense, in the spiritual sense, in every avenue of your life, and you are going to tear it down. Whatever wall is standing between you and these goals, there is nothing that's going to be able to stop you. And even if it's something that is stopping you, something that you can't control, God is going to handle that for you. So if you enjoyed this podcast, I ask for two things as always. Number one, please leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.